The first meeting between these two since that historic day in SW19 last July, when 77 years of British pain and anguish came to an end. But that was then. This is now. And both want to move on. They've looked in good form so far this week, but tonight should give us a much clearer indication of how Andy is adapting to life without Lendl and whether Novak is close to rediscovering his very best once more. It is time for chapter 20 of the Novak and Andy story. Warm welcome to our live coverage of the ATP Masters 1000 in Miami and the first of the quarterfinals between the British #1 and the world #2.
It's definitely nice to be part of a great rivalry with Andy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. We grew up together. We know each other since we were 11 years old. We played many matches against each other.
The first, let's hope, Peter, of many, many matches between these two at the senior level. There it is. Well done to Novak Djokovic and the two friends now to shake hands. 6 days separate these two at birth. What will separate them by the end of this match? He has done it! And how! What a victory for Andy Murray!
On hard courts, the matches I played with him have been physically probably the most demanding of my career.
Welcome to another prize fight between these two. Superman triumphs again. An emphatic win for Andy Murray.
He was always a champion.
History is made at the US Open.
I want to congratulate Andy for his first Grand Slam. He absolutely deserves it.
Another phenomenal fight between these two. Djokovic somehow is champion in Shanghai. Well, just remarkable how they keep reproducing this absolutely stunning tennis. He is some champion, isn't he?
It's just great to experience many entertaining matches that bring a lot of joy, not just to us players, but also to the people watching.
So calm throughout that opening set. That is ridiculous. It makes it look so simple as well. Well played, Murray. It's been a difficult week for the Wimbledon champion. His first match since his amicable split with Ivan Lendl.
That's a fierce and fantastic combination of strokes. That is absolutely magnificent. A very tidy way to tick this one off. Murray a little hiccup at the start of the match, but once he really got into it, there was only one outcome.
Oh, this is the best I've seen him hit his forehand this year. Superb. Been a masterclass from Murray. And a brilliant way to seal the victory for Murray. That's his 9th win in a row here in Miami.
You know, my game is kind of close to where I want it to be. He's obviously playing very good tennis, again, winning last week, and it's been pretty comfortable so far here.
First win for Andy against top 20 opposition since he beat Novak in the Wimbledon final. This was a little earlier, beautiful morning in Miami after all the rain that we've had over the past few days. Of course, he knows this place so well, home from home, as has been mentioned so many times. And he's been really popular with American tennis audiences almost from the moment he burst onto the scene. Barry, it has been comfortable for him thus far. I've got to mention Tsonga and that match yesterday. Something seemed to be, as well as Andy played, something seemed to be badly wrong with the Frenchman.
Well, we had the discussion at the beginning of the year, didn't we, about Tsonga, and I feel that his best days are behind him. I mean, he probably this year may be bouncing between 10 and 20, but Joe's always played his best tennis when he's been inspired, when he's had the adrenaline rush.
When I signed my deal, I found pressure. Don't wanna see the numbers. I wanna see.
That'll do for the set. It's how you come back from adversity, isn't it?
I say I'm sorry about you that I believe. When I go home, I tend to close the door. I never want to know. So sing with me. Can't you see? I don't know.
Djokovic rolls through then in straight sets.
I do it for the love. I do it for the love. I do it for the love. Please don't get me wrong.
Beautiful angle. Tommy looks to the heavens after that. He can't believe that Djokovic found the winning shot.
Please can you make this work for me? 'Cause I'm not a puppet, I will work against your strings. When I go home,
How impressive was that? Djokovic, the first man through to the quarterfinals this year. A nice forehand to finish with.
One walkover, 2 comfortable wins. Lot of spectators and fans to please. He's always been really good in that department. Without his head coach, of course, Boris Becker, recovering after another operation on his hips. And Boris, we wish you a really speedy recovery. We've missed your tweets over the past few days, but seen pictures of you recovering in hospital. And he hopes to be back with Novak for the start of the clay court swing in Monte Carlo. Mariam Vida has had to stay on, having been in Indian Wells as well, because he knows what to do. They've been a fantastic combination.
We sat down after I finished in Indian Wells, and that was basically run its course. I mean, Ivan wants to do other things, and you know, the time required to I think make a difference, you know, is more than what he could offer right now. And yeah, it's a shame, and you know, it's a tough one for me because, you know, it's the best part of my career I had with him. I have a lot to thank him for. He made a huge difference to my game and also to my team, and yeah, he's been a big part of my life, really. So it's tough. You know, often with, you know, ex players, the relationships don't tend to last for a long period. You know, more than sort of 3-4 years. So I need to decide exactly what I want now, if I want to go down that route again or do something a bit different. I spend so much time here. I train on the centre court 2-3 months of the year. I know the conditions well here. I know the place extremely well, and you know, I get to sleep in my own bed too. So that's the nice part about it for me. And I've played some of my best tennis here over the years. So I look forward to starting. I didn't play a match for I think about 4 months. and I've played 5 tournaments, I think, since the surgery. I don't think that's a large amount of time. So, yeah, I just keep working hard. I've been finding a way to win matches when I haven't been playing so well. I was playing well in Australia. I felt like I was playing well there. I felt like I played some good tennis in Acapulco, but Rotterdam and Indian Wells wasn't so good. So yeah, it's just been a little bit patchy, but I don't really know what else is to be expected. A lot can happen in a few days in an individual sport. Winning a match, or just having a couple of days good practice can change things. It's there's no real secret. You just have to keep working hard, get yourself in the best possible physical shape, prepare properly for the tournaments, and then things can turn very, very quickly in tennis, and hopefully that'll be the case this week.
A little over an hour later than intended, out walks the defending champion, man who's won on 2 occasions in Miami, and who would love to taste the success that a big title brings once more. But Novak is a 3-time champion here. Beautiful day in Miami, but it has been blustery. It will be interesting to see exactly how windy it is again today. And as the boys were saying, that might have an impact on proceedings. Thanks for all your tweets and emails, by the way, on the subject of good and bad decisions. A lot of you not happy with Novak's attire.
Let me know clearly. We have a TV changeovers, and please play during the time. All right? Questions? Nothing? Go ahead. Tails? Yes, one. Receive.
And he wins the coin toss and decides to receive, Leaf.
Well, he's going to bring his strength out first. He's got one of the greatest returns in the game. Put a little pressure on Novak's serve out of the blocks. And, as part of Novak's slow start this year has been the fact that he throws in one bad service game. Maybe Andy can find one in the opening game. Having said that, Novak is playing better and better to get to this point, having brought home a big title last week.
And there's confirmation of that quarter-final lineup. Rafa against Raonic, as mentioned. The dog looking to bite another victim in the shape of Thomas Berdych tomorrow.
And all the talk, Marcus, at the beginning of the year, changing of the guard, but the big 4 are still there.
You wanted confirmation of tomorrow's schedule, Barry. It's just come through. The dog and Berdych will be on at 7 tomorrow evening. We'll have that live at 7. Rafa against Raonic at 11 tomorrow night.
I'm sure Uncle Tony went into the referee's office and said, Rafa, I like to play tomorrow night.
Does that make a big difference for him?
I think so. I think it makes it a little slower. I mean, OK, you can say, on the other hand, well, playing in the day, then Rafa's shots will have a little bit more on it.
But it might negate that Raonic serve just a little bit.
I'm glad that this is on in the afternoon, because it's going to be a physical match. They're playing at around the hottest part of the day. At what stage will we have a rally over 20 shots? I'm sure it'll probably be in the first game.
And Leif, if Andy still has a few problems with that hip problem, whatever it was yesterday, and he made that very clear against Tsonga. Normally when he plays the really big guns, he tends to mask his emotions a little more. Would he be advised to do that today? Can he do that against Novak, or is it just the nature of Andy Murray? As Peter Fleming famously said in commentary last night, the day we should really worry is when Andy looks happy.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be content with your play and content with, some of the nicks you feel over the course of a season, well, maybe you are done. So I think the more fire he shows, within limits, obviously, is going to be good. And again, as a player, you feel a little pressure, some stress. You want to exercise it and get a little of that out of you. I mean, he's going to do that. I mean, we see Novak do that a lot. But again, it has to be within reason. You don't want to go too far over the line where you just lose control. Somehow there needs to be an element of calmness in your head when you're playing.
And even though he lost that opening set to Matthew Ebden, he's played well the whole week, Andy. He played well in that first set.
Yeah, Ebden was inspired, wasn't he?
It was just one of those sets that everything that the Australian touched turned to gold.
Well, Novak's stats are pretty impressive. From the moment this guy burst onto the scene, and it's a fair few years ago now. I mean, he's still only 26 years of age, but it was very evident, wasn't it, right from the word go, that he had everything required to be a champion on the court and off it as well. And I know he still feels, or at least there is a theory that he believes that perhaps he's not accorded enough respect. He's still third fiddle behind Federer and Nadal, but perhaps he's just a victim in that regard of being part of probably the greatest era of all time.
I don't think that's anything against Novak, but tennis fans are loyal. And what we found is that they've either backed Federer or Nadal, and then up comes Novak Djokovic, and they're not going to change their allegiances, are they, necessarily? But the more big titles he wins, the more claim that he'll have to joining the big two, in terms of the 20, 30 years time, moving the game on.
Yeah, and maybe he would never have been as great as he is without those guys.
Good point.
That is a very
They've
good point.
spurred him on, and he's become the man he is now because of them to some degree. I mean, obviously he has an inner engine and a belief and a heart, and that's something unique amongst these sort of legendary champions. He's right there.
Well, you've had over an hour to change your mind, but can we confirm your predictions as we have a reminder of that last meeting, that never-to-be-forgotten day at Wimbledon? It's still Novak for you, Barry, is it?
It is, yes. Yeah, I think just physically, he has the edge. And for me, that's where the match is going to be won and lost.
Barry made a very compelling argument for Novak winning this match, so I'm going to stay with Murray.
And let's hope that Damien Steinert doesn't have to deal with too many issues, particularly iffy line calls. There were two in the Murray-Ebden match that defied belief. One that was called out when it was actually almost nearer the service line than the baseline. So everyone's got to keep their wits about them. But let us hope this lives up to expectations. There's no reason to think it won't. We'll head up to the commentary box, waiting patiently for us there, Peter Fleming and Mark Petchey.
Well, I'm not sure who's going to have to work harder today, the guys in the studio or the two guys that have taken to court. But yes, the delay is over and it's time for action. There's a man that likes a little bit of action on and off the court in terms of his sport, and a big golfer down at his academy at the moment as well here in Florida, and nice to see Lendl in the box. Danny Lavadu next to him, of course. Well, it always says hitting partner, which is kind of, I think, a little disrespectful for what Danny brings to the table. Kim Sears behind him. Mark Bender, well, he may well have been hard at work yesterday. Top left of your picture in the white cap, of course, Andy had a slight problem with his back, so a little bit of a worry with that. Jez Green in the blue hat, his father Willie, and on the right of him Ugo Colombini, of course looking after some of Andy's commercial interests, but the interest very much between the lines today, Peter, for Andy, and this is a big match for him.
It is, no question about it, and I think he'll be pleased with how he has progressed over the last couple of weeks. Quite a shaky match, I guess, against Raonic and Indian Wells, but since then he appears to have settled a lot better. The last two sets against Ebden, match against Lopez, and then again yesterday over Tsonga. So I think he's just about there. You know, with these great players, and let's face it, both of these guys are great players. It's interesting. They come into a match and you think they're not prepared. They're the underdogs. They don't have a shot. And yet they have a great knack for digging deep and finding something special when you least expect it. And so I think that okay, going into this match, perhaps Djokovic is a slight favorite, but the conditions look a little blustery, and I think that might just favor Andy. Remember U.S. Open final when Andy won his first major, was very windy then.
Djokovic to serve.
It's about as close to 50-50, I think, as we could hope for.
Ready.
Novak coming off that win in Indian Wells. Confidence clearly is going to be a huge part to these type of contests. The 20th edition of the Murray-Djokovic rivalry about to get underway.
Out, 15 left. Serve Murray, turning for the right base. Ball was collapsed.
Obviously felt very good off his strings.
Looked good. But was it?
All stands 15 left. Mr. Murray has 2 challenges.
35th Masters 1000 quarterfinal for Andy. And in the past 35 Masters 1000 tournaments themselves, the big four, of course, Nadal, Federer, Djokovic and Murray, have accounted for 33 of those titles. So this is a Premier League top of the table clash. I'm with you. I think the wind favours Andy quite a bit. I just think that Novak, particularly on his forehand side, and that sort of take back that he has, it's a little flicky at times. He also seems to want to set a little bit more than Andy does with the feet. Well, that bodes well for a contest. Maybe not so well for Andy that he came off second best. Quality from Novak.
Great depth. It really astonishes me how deep these very best players keep the ball time and time again. Because, of course, you're taking risks when you're flirting with the baseline.
Game Djokovic.
Pretty aggressive forehand returns from Andy on that due side. To no avail as Novak hangs on to his opening service game. And as I said, this has been a rivalry rich in various meetings through the years. Of course, the first one back in 2006 in Madrid, indoors on hard. Novak a winner. In the slams, they played 5 times, but Andy's got the best of him in a couple of significant moments as well. And of course that one, the pinnacle, his Everest. The time Andy's played Novak and hasn't been broken in the match was in the Olympics. In the semi-finals, 5-5, he won that one. What defense from Murray.
And you can see both players having to adapt to balls moving out of their strike zone. The wind will most certainly be a factor today. Match needed a couple of competent opening service game holds by both players. Novak, of course, on a pretty impressive streak in Masters 1000 tournaments right now, winning Shanghai and Paris at the end of last year, and of course Indian Wells already this year, so he's going strong. In fact, since 2010 Barclays ATP World Tour Finals, Novak's failed to make the quarterfinals at any event on just 3 occasions. A couple of times last year in Madrid and Miami, and back in 2012 in Paris. I mean, it is a remarkable sequence of consistency from the serve. And that is why. What a fantastic service game that was. One minor blemish with the missed forehand, but apart from that, that was perfection personified from Novak. 2-1. Novak's greatness was never really in doubt when he reached the final of the US Open back in 2007. Of course, came second best to Federer on that day, but the third youngest to reach the US Open final after Sampras and Becker, so he was already in fairly illustrious company already back then. And of course, he has gone from strength to strength.
Please. Thank you.
Defending champion serving at 1-2 in the opening set.
15 love.
Early days, but there's certainly a real calmness about Andy's performance so far in this opening segment of the match.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that in a match of this quality, of this atmosphere, this is a Wednesday afternoon. You know, it seems incongruous. This should be Sunday afternoon. What a treat.
Such a good fortune, and another great point played between these two.
30-15.
He thought that was going long, didn't he? As soon as it came off Djokovic's racket, I think Murray must have thought, this is mine. Perhaps the wind, though, kept it in.
Untimely double fault. And even worse news for Murray is that Djokovic so far in this tournament is absolutely perfect on breakpoint chances converted. 5 for 5. Particular record goes courtesy of a quality backhand down the line there from Murray. The courage under fire already from the Scot.
Edge for service.
That was a pretty clever rally from Novak. That high forehand, and he saw his movement off the ball there. He got his feet right up onto his own baseline, looking for something short. He knew that Murray was going to struggle to generate an awful lot of power off the ball that he'd given him. And he ends up extracting the error and carving out another break point.
That's for service.
Oh, that's brilliant from Murray. What a valiant effort it was from Novak. And Boris, watching it after recovering from hip surgery, probably appreciate this effort.
exactly. Boris, though, at least had the luxury of diving onto grass.
Oh my goodness! It is brutal, it is breathtaking, and ultimately brilliant from Murray.
And let's face it, 98% of the players would have struggled to hit a chip backhand in this position. Murray somehow manages to get the left hand around the ball and flip it cross court. What an amazing shot.
Djokovic is carrying the ball on the right far sideline. Ball was called in.
No real sense whether this was in or out. No,
very close.
It is. It's a massive point as well after what we've just seen. He's got the line. What a terrific hold of serve that was. Novak threw absolutely everything at him.
2 games on.
And if anyone was doubting his hunger for the game, I think he's just put any doubts to bed there.
Mr. Djokovic has 2 challenges remaining.
Good job, no one was doubting.
Love. One. Mr. Djokovic is selling the corner on the left base. Ball was called out.
Opinion didn't carry as much weight as perhaps he thought it would have done.
Well, and that's why he wasn't unequivocal.
15-0.
Unequivocal, I guess.
One challenge.
Simply because it was so close. I mean, you're right, though. Damian Steiner was, I think it was long.
Oh, that is so good. How hard did he hit that going backwards?
Yeah, and the good news is here that both these guys have started out playing the way we'd hoped they might. And guess what? It's only going to get better.
Yeah, Djokovic.
Well, whichever player you're pulling for today, you have to appreciate the quality of tennis produced by both men so far. It's been special. 3-2. Serbs in the stadium as they are pretty much wherever Novak goes these days to play. It was certainly flying high at the end of last year for Novak. 24-match winning streak he ended 2013 with. That was in fact the longest end-of-season unbeaten run since Roger back in 2006, who finished the season with 29. He ultimately went on to stop at 41 in the next season as well, so he's had a few of those in his career though. This year's been a little tougher so far for Novak, but he's currently getting back to his winning ways. Well, he's only got one challenge left.
Looks long, yeah. Yeah. 15 love.
That's better.
And the difference between the two was, why was he so confident last time?
He just saw this one. The other one he didn't see.
Kevin Spacey.
Going incognito, you did well there, Petch.
Neither man really has put a foot wrong so far. Impressive numbers. Andy weaving his web, bringing Novak in on his terms, slotting it past him halfway through the opening set.
Well, as you say, both guys doing pretty much just what they want to do on serve. Okay, Murray fended off the one break point, but he's looked very comfortable. Feeling this is just a battle of wills right now. Which guy will break down ever so momentarily?
40-30.
Terrific forehand once again from Murray. Plenty of intent about it. And that will give Novak something else to think about. He can't be dropping it in that particular channel with not too much on it. There's been pressure on both men's serve, but no one's buckled yet.
Murray hit 3 rockets in a row. The last one off the baseline. Djokovic just returned them. Well, not with ease, but almost comfortably. And finally, Murray self-destructed almost. Just hardest. And he's tantalizingly close to potentially getting the breakthrough, but Djokovic survives. 4-3. I think he'll he's secretly, even though he demands perfection from himself, pretty pleased with how things have gone so far, Murray, in this opening 7 games. Played well so far in this tournament, but given the quality opponent who's coming off a win in a Masters 1000 event, he'll be happy that he's pushed him this close and has looked
quickly, please. Thank you.
Very comfortable in the exchanges from the back. But a slight change to the conditions with the new balls, a little quicker. Who will it favour? It would appear the server.
And for service.
It's striking how aggressive Andy Murray has started this match out.
I'm disappointed in you, Pete. I do the male actors, you do the beautiful women. Murray does perfect service games. A hole to love, absolutely ideal at this stage.
It's a testament to how great these guys are at hitting passing shots, that we look at a shot like that and go, what happened? And he was 6, 7 feet behind the baseline, trying to thread the needle.
Vida isn't supposed to be here, of course, in Miami. But, due to the fact that Boris had that surgery, Marion stayed on. Both players having to deal with so much out there. The pace of shot that their opponent's producing, the different spin,
15.
And the wind as well to go with it.
Well, Djokovic did so well because Murray's sliced backhand, the penultimate one, was an absolute knife.
Murray read it, he was up to it so quickly.
Yeah, and if you don't fool him, this is what happens. It's a waist-high shot, nearly chest-high. They're both just going toe-to-toe.
14-13.
And enjoying it, it seems.
Mr. Murray is trying to call the far side line. Ball was called in. Lose 1-2. If you lose this 1-1.
Let's see whether he can find his second ace with this delivery. He does indeed. Two superstars of the sport at the moment are showcasing their talents out here on the center court in Miami. It's Novak leading 5-4.
5 games to 4. Mr. Murray.
Well, a good look at where Murray's going, and well, most of the time you'd have to say that players play with a lot of variation. That's what we teach them, isn't it, Pete? Throw that out the window.
Look at that. Well, just goes to show how much respect he has for the Djokovic two-hander.
Time.
And it also, I suppose, says something about Murray's faith in his slicer. Of course, the more spin you put on it, the higher or the better your chances are of putting it into play. So Murray will always make a higher percentage of slicers than the flat one down the middle in the deuce court.
Thank you.
Such venom at times, it almost looks as though it's knocking Novak back. He'll be a little disappointed, or number two, that he hasn't been able to penetrate a little better on the second serve so far. He hasn't had too many to look at, but
yeah, Mark, and that might be the key because he hasn't seen many second serves. He's been reticent to really go after them, opting more just to put the ball back into play. Perhaps as this match wears on, he'll choose to be a little more aggressive.
Paucity of break points so far between these two. So often they carve out a number of opportunities. That four-set match at Wimbledon, the 30 break point chances between the two of them.
Yeah, Murray. Game sold.
Apologies, obviously straight sets win for any of the three sets, but 30 break points in that particular match. And I think in their last 5 meetings, and this is certainly going the same way, I think the average time for each set has been virtually an hour. I think 59 minutes to be precise. They are tough tussles.
Remember the first 3 games at Wimbledon last year? It took 25 minutes or something. They were exhausting. Murray got away with that one. Had a forehand short in the court. Opted just to push it back. Found himself on the defensive, but somehow got away with it. What a great change of pace serve that was.
OT 15.
Once again, the kick serve really threw Murray.
14-13.
Failed to capitalize on it. And almost bounced it out of the hit zone.
Well, these two perhaps aren't as close as they used to be. The Cup of Hospitality not quite as full. As Andy said, you don't want to get too close to your rivals, and maybe there Novak being a little nice. I think had that been Ivan Lendl hitting that forehand, the person at the net would have been wearing it.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh boy.
Compliments of the season to you.
All right. Thank you.
Can he take his first chance to break?
Yes. Thank you.
So often on these big points on the due side, he's gone into Andy's forehand. Will he go back there again? And will Murray be ready for it? That was a good change-up. He was perhaps leaning that way. There was a point earlier in this set on a big one where Andy got beaten with the one to the forehand. He was telling himself to think. And under pressure, Djokovic coming up with some variety. Is it going to get him out of trouble? And he's a mental giant at times, and he's proved it once again. Maximum pressure, but he's extracted the best of himself there. 6-5.
6 games to 5.
In their previous 19 meetings, Novak has managed to turn around the first set loss deficit 4 times. Murray has never managed to do it. All his 8 wins against Novak has come when he's won the opening set. So the next 5 to 10 minutes or so perhaps going to be absolutely crucial for the world number 6.
Thank you.
As he's proved so many times in his career, there's a first time for everything. That must have been close to him leaning over the net.
It certainly was.
Now 15.
But Damian Steiner says it was okay.
Oh, should it have been?
I don't know. That was very tight. But of course,
that's just been played. That's just been played up on the big screen as well.
Oh gosh, what a mistake that was. Andy's just watched it. Damian Steiner, of course, had to make a split-second decision.
Hit the ball and then continue. Hit the ball over the net and then continue.
He's saying his racket was over the net.
Over the net is fine, but the problem is the other side. Over here is fine. He hit the ball and then continue.
Yeah, and that's what Damian Steiner is saying. He hit the ball on his own side and followed through across it, and that's legal. You have to make contact on your own side of the net. Of course, there's nothing to be gained out of this by Andy. It is a judgment call by the umpire.
Thank you. That is already. Thank you.
Well, what do you think, honestly? That's over the net.
Thank you.
Looks
From
like
that
it's-
angle.
From that angle, yeah. Looks like he has an argument. What an inopportune time for Murray to react to something like that. He needs to pull himself together.
Well, if it was played on the big screen because you heard the crowd's reaction. I mean, Pete, if you were in a situation...
No. I'm not saying it's his fault or anything. I'm just saying, love 30. Let's go.
Well, it looks as though it's going to be decided by that significant moment as well.
Round 14.
Unless somehow he can dig himself out of this hole. But it's deep.
Thank you. That is already. Thank you.
And he can't.
Djokovic.
Strong end to the opening set from Novak Djokovic. And Murray perhaps with a reason to be bitter about how that turned around, but credit to the world number 2. He takes it 7-5.
Hit right over and then continue. That's what I've seen.
Gripping set of tennis. Let's hear what Damian Steiner's saying here.
But I cannot see that.
His racket was over the net.
Exactly, over here is fine.
His racket was over the net.
Over the net is fine. The problem is he cannot hit the ball the other side.
He said
over
his
here
racket
is fine.
was over the net. Over the net.
Over, not the other side. No. On top of the net.
Well, there seems to be a language problem here from Damian Steiner, not quite understanding what over the net means. Let's have another look again. And Steiner's saying that, I thought initially what he was saying, as long as Novak originally hit the ball his side, it didn't matter what happened thereafter. But he's hit the ball over the net. It's as clear as day, isn't it, Barry?
Well, that's what it looks like to me, Marcus. I think Andy's had a tough call there, a tough break. But it...
Because it's quite clear. You can see it on the replay.
I cannot have the replay at the moment.
You saw the replay.
They shouldn't have played it in the replay. They should not have done that. And we've seen that before, and they've got to learn their mistake by their mistakes.
When the umpire obviously has the perfect view, if he can't see that, I'm not sure what he's doing up in the chair.
Well, you know, it's interesting. That is a great angle because it looks from that angle as if the trajectory of the ball wouldn't have even gone over the net.
So that said, it's 1 point, and it's, you know, a shame that Andy...
Well, we have to go back to the previous game, didn't we? Djokovic served a couple of double faults, was really tentative, break point down, and Andy missed a shot that you wouldn't expect him to miss. But I think we're both in agreement. That was a great set of tennis in terms of quality. It's kind of a shame it was overshadowed by that decision, the first point of the last game.
Second set.
Well, he's got to dig deep here. There's still a long way to go. Back up to the box, Peter Fleming, Mark Petchey.
Yeah, just going going to be interesting to see how Andy reacts at the start of this second set to that obvious disappointment. I mean, that second replay, that tighter one to the net, was even more clear-cut.
Now 15.
Novak caught a break and got a break.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just as well that they didn't show the second replay on the big screen. Andy would have gone ape.
Got a little warmer, that chair. I don't know if it's just the heat in Miami or what's going on.
That's a great play by Murray. Taking the second serve, had a relatively easy volley. Perhaps the wind buffeted the ball just enough.
Thoughts going around in his head, I think, are a little buffeted right now, but just needs to get that calmness back, as you say. He did the hard work there. Absolutely everything going Novak's way, including the scoreboard right now. A gentle apology. And Murray just needs to get his equilibrium back as quickly as he can. It's interesting when you look at these two and you kind of feel how similar they are in terms of how they play their tennis, their careers and everything else, at just the success, as we see a quick look at the opening set there, and some obviously great numbers from both players. And in fact, interestingly, second serve points won. Murray just a little better currently. But I was going to say that Novak, when you look at his career compared to Andy's, has won over 120 more matches than the current world number 6. Very similar in terms of career won and 136 lost for Murray, 134 for Novak. And the serve with almost double the prize money at 59 million, and Andy's at 30 million. And where would you say the difference between these two is in terms of their games? Why has Novak been able to produce those kind of numbers? That's terrific again. Of course, the serve who finished last year in the top 3 once again for the 7th straight year. Andy's managed it once.
Well, that's a very difficult question. And if you ask 10 people, they'll probably give you 10 different opinions. Perhaps just Murray's volatility may have contributed to his losing a few matches when Djokovic has been pretty solid in that department.
40-15.
Momentum, the third member of any contest between two players, and Novak very keen for it to stay on his side of the court. He's had the rub of the green.
Yeah, Murray.
That would be a little bit of a calming influence on Murray's side of the court, that clean service game.
And you have to say that the first two games of this set have been exemplary for Murray. He has just put the first set behind him and appears to be sort of right back where he was at the start of set number one. And that's a good place.
Sumptuous backhand enjoyed by Kevin Spacey.
15.
It's interesting. It suddenly appears as though Murray has started out just a little more aggressively in this set than he did at the start of the match. He's taking the ball on.
Oh, yes. Vicious return.
Long 13.
Yeah, sometimes it's a wonder why he doesn't employ that shot more often, because he hits it as well as anyone, probably better than anyone.
It's for service.
And maybe that's why, because when he misses it, it corrodes his soul. He doesn't like to make errors.
Too right.
Mr. Murray is turning a call right near the line. Ball was called in.
At the start of the match, things were just missing for Novak, but all of a sudden things very much going his way. Excellent placement on that serve. That wide serve again delivering the intended result.
40-30.
You don't often have to change up your direction, but just enough to keep your opponent honest. Couldn't have asked more of himself there, trailing love 30 in that game. Murray with plenty of intent, prowling around at the back of the court, looking for a breaker serve, but it wasn't to be. 2-1, Djokovic, second set.
Time.
Much to love about this tournament. And there are a lot of people enjoying it, not just for the weather, but also for the tennis that's being produced out there between these two great players. It's a little bit of a bonus at the moment on the men's tour for some of these fans that have got tickets before semi-finals and finals day with the way the current rankings are. that is massive. And magnificent combined. He really has reacted well to the loss of that opening set.
And yes, mentally and physically, timing the ball immaculately.
Razor sharp onto that ball. Didn't get it quite right in the opening set with the drop shot, Novak, but he certainly did there. That one bounced like a boulder.
Yeah, what, 2 feet from the net? Just feathered over.
Bringing some of their exhibition tennis from New York, where they played recently on World Tennis Day at Madison Square Garden, to the Crandon Bart Tennis Center. Delightful from Novak. And if you just watch the serve after the return, the off backhand return, he planted himself well inside the baseline so that he could produce that point.
Mr. Murray trying to call the right service line. Ball was called out. Ball stands. Murray has one chance.
Very uncharacteristic. How often will we see Djokovic miss returns like that in that situation? Almost never.
These are some edgy moments for Andy Murray. Up 30 in the previous game. Djokovic hits back on his own serve, up 40 love in this game.
Advantage, Murray.
How forward you feel for this sequence of games to go against him. That is absolutely outrageous. How does he make this?
Yeah, because it was a miss-hit return. That's how Djokovic was able to generate such an incredible angle. I mean, Murray was nowhere to be seen. Look how far outside the tram lines he is. And of course, that ball had to be hit perfectly, because if it was any shorter, it would have been wide, any deeper, long. That was a huge game. 7-5-3-1, and Djokovic is looking like running away with it.
Now 15. First service.
Both these guys have served spectacularly today. Djokovic, 75% first serves.
Murray turning ball on left ear sideline. Ball was called in. Ball stands 30-15. Mr. Murray has no more challenges remaining.
Oh boy. A whole lot of frustration in store for the rest of this set.
That's a pretty decent way, positive way to dispel any frustration that might be coming his way. And another quick return from Andy Murray, latched onto that so fast. And Novak directing that attack into the forehand side, couldn't find the pass.
Old school approach shot as well, did the trick.
Sensational and skillful. And Murray steals into the lead here in the second set with a break, 3-2.
Murray leads 3 games.
Poetry in motion. Great vision for Murray. Novak trying to come up with the serve and volley play to catch him unawares, but he was very vigilant.
Yeah, reacted so quickly. Love the way he came forward after the setup pass.
Round 15.
Oh, there's the first bit of frustration. No challenges left. Actually, 3 doesn't feel enough when these guys hit it this close to the line consistently for well over an hour now. Oh boy, he's going to love some of the decisions that have happened today.
30.
Just a couple of untimely double faults today, and that's another one. And a chance immediately for Djokovic to get the break back. That's brilliant. Incredible reach.
This is the sort of tennis that Andy Murray is capable, perhaps more capable than any other player on tour, to play. Defend the net. 6'3" is tall and quick. Not an easy guy to get the ball around.
There was an awful lot of space over the top of him. And in his quest to put a bit of space between the two of them, he's making life increasingly difficult with these double faults. 4 times he's gone into that forehand of Novak. It's a 5th. And it's a break back. And he'll be disappointed about that as well. He contributed to his own demise.
Yeah, that was a terrible game. Reminiscent of the game he played against Raonic when he went up a break in the 3rd set. Gifted the break right back. And as well as Murray has played at times in this match, we still don't have a sense that he's locked in at that high level. It's fleeting.
Heads for service.
Deserves something to go his way.
15.
He's benefited from a nice bit of luck here.
But what magnificent feel he exhibited on the drop volley.
Novak smiling, and he isn't. Delicate touch between 2 of them.
15.
Yeah, it looked as though Andy actually was going to take advantage of Novak's conservative targets, but just couldn't finish it off.
String.
30-15.
Just another bit of adversity for him to come back from.
Exactly. When you break a string in that situation, the ball explodes off the racket, catapulting long.
to be the pride to defend the net in this position. And again, just a touch short perhaps with the approach shot, and that's all it needs to be, something less than excellent, and Novak's going to make you pay.
Djokovic.
He has served beautiful. First serves, but also second serves deep onto the line.
Djokovic leads 4 games to 3.
And he moves back in front, 4-3. It's always got a pretty good atmosphere within this stadium. Everyone coming here having a good time. It's that kind of city in so many ways. Come to watch the show, and the two actors out here haven't disappointed so far. Just the sense that we perhaps won't be getting a third and final act here. There is no room really for error now for Andy Murray. He's got to recover from the disappointment of those last couple of games quickly.
What a terrific return. The first serve was deep, and yet Djokovic dropped it right on the baseline.
This has slipped away from him so quickly. Novak awash with confidence. Unfortunately, a tidal wave of errors from Andy Murray leaves the Serb serving for the match. And Pete, you can only put it down to where he is, I guess, mentally in his comeback.
I think so. I think, yeah, he's just hasn't quite bedded in the sort of confidence required to play at this high level throughout a match.
Never lost in the quarter-final stage here in Miami before. 4-0 Novak. Doesn't look as though that record's going to change. Looking for his 39th semi-final of a Masters 1000 event as well. Sweet as you like. The historical numbers keep mounting up, as do the winners.
Yeah, when you get on a roll, which is right now, you feel as though you can move mountains, and he is flying.
Not going to relieve all the pain of that Wimbledon loss for Novak Djokovic, but it's certainly going to help somewhat. He's the first semi-finalist here in Miami this year. What a finish that was to the quarter-final. Well, there'll be a lot of good things for Andy to take away from that particular match in terms of the way that he played his tennis. Obviously disappointed with a loss, but ultimately Novak on the day, just too good.
Yeah, and the promising signs for Murray certainly are that he is playing much improved tennis. It certainly appears as though it won't be long before he's knocking on the door once again. But this man, a serial winner, just a little too formidable today.
Well, he wrapped it up in really effective fashion in the end, didn't he? A very happy Djokovic camp. It's going to be a very unhappy Andy Murray this evening after that controversial moment at 5-6 in the first set. We heard him still talking about it at 3-4 in the second. We'll have another look at it in just a moment. But there are the bare bones, hour and 30 minutes. And ultimately, Barry, it's your man who has come through in terms of your prediction, that is.
Yeah, Novak, I thought, served very well at crucial stages. That helped him get out of a little bit of trouble. And the winners to unforced errors ratios for both men doesn't do the quality of the match any justice. I thought it was very, very good tennis from both men.
Leif?
You know, there were times when Andy, had to put himself in a winning position. He just couldn't sort of capitalize in the first set, and he couldn't hang on to the lead he had in the second. So there were moments when he was playing well enough to put himself ahead and to maybe turn this in his favor. But at the end of the day, Novak just had a little too much.
He goes through to play either Roger Federer or Kei Nishikori. You can see that quarterfinal live here on Sky Sports 3 at 1 a.m. And then tomorrow, it's Alexander Dolgopolov against Thomas Berdych at 7. And Rafa against Milos Raonic at 11. And we've got both those matches live for you as well. But lots to reflect on. And of course, that key moment at 5-6 in the first is going to be the main talking point. As frustrating as it was for Andy, though, should he have put it behind him and tried to get back in that particular service game? And certainly have forgotten about it by 3-4 in the second?
Yes, but I think he would have done if they hadn't have showed it on the big screen. I think that was the killer for Andy, because you know that you should have won the point, and you know what such a big point it was. And it's such a crucial stage. And I think it was also a carry-on from the previous game. We shouldn't forget that. He had the break point, and Novak was rattled a little bit.
Bizarre moment, wasn't it? And the rules are fairly clear, and we'll have a look at what the rule says exactly, but it does seem strange that the umpire couldn't deal with that particular issue, and then, of course, it festered thereafter, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call. It's one of those judgment calls. We saw Mohamed Liani make it miss a similar call against Milos Raonic in Canada, touching the net. It seemed very clear to us, but maybe in the chair when he's trying to manage so many things, it's not so clear. But the replay certainly suggested that it was, something that needed to be called. And you just wonder, is there a way that we could have players have a challenge outside of a Hawkeye system, that a replay like that couldn't make that call happen? And you just wonder if we don't have the, technology to do that. Because that certainly would have calmed things down there, because it seemed unfair when it did happen.
Yeah, but of course, as you say, Barry, they shouldn't really have shown the crowd what did happen with the replay in the first place. Here's the letter of the law, just before we have another look at the incident. And it's very clear. The player loses the point if the player hits the ball before it has passed the net. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's have another look. Even from that angle, Barry, you immediately said, oh, that's close.
Yeah.
That's close to being over the net.
It looked like you saw the racket face completely on the near side of the net.
And these angles are pretty definitive. And you made a good point, actually. There's no argument there. And actually, if he'd left it, the ball may well have gone into the net anyway.
Yeah, he might not have even had to make a play at all. I'm just surprised that someone like Novak Djokovic, who's played so much tennis, is getting this close to the net in the first place and even putting himself in that position. Either let that ball bounce or make sure your racket. Here's a real convincing look. Take a look at that.
And looking at Novak's eye line, will he know deep down what has happened there, Barry?
I give him the benefit of the doubt. We've seen Novak be a great sportsman on more than one occasion, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I'm consistent on it. They should not have played it on the big screen. I just think that caused all the problems, and we had it last year, didn't we, with Raonic? Where was it, in Canada?
In Canada, yeah. Well, he kicked the net.
Yeah.
And no one saw it on that occasion. You said that Novak's a good sportsman. We had an example of that only yesterday. A lot of you have tweeted and emailed in. This was against Tommy Robredo. Robredo serving at 1-all deuce. A strong rally ends with a big hit from Robredo. It's called out, immediately corrected. So they would have replayed the point. That's what Cedric Mourier said. And Novak, to his credit, says, no, the call didn't affect me at all. You have the point.
And I think sportsmanship from Novak, and as Leaf said about a challenge, this particular incident is going to happen in a Grand Slam final on match point at some stage. And the umpires keep getting it wrong because, when was the call made? It's very difficult to get 100% right if you're the umpire.
Well, Leif, I mean, that was a great example of sportsmanship. We have had a lot of tweets and emails there from people today saying, OK, so Novak's happy to give that point in that instance, but we come to a critical moment in a quarter-final against another of the big beasts, and he hasn't. I mean, what's your view as to how much he knows of where he's hit the ball?
Yeah, see, I think he feels he made a fair play here. So I don't think he's trying to take advantage. I'm going to hit this over the.
Well, he did say, didn't he? Didn't he say to Andy at the net, saying?
He certainly said something along those lines, and then when Andy continued his conversation with the umpire said, well, he said nothing to me, which obviously he's got to say something to the umpire before the umpire might be in a position to overturn his original decision.
Yeah, I just don't think that, that he thought he was in the wrong. I think he felt he made a clean, legal volley, and OK, maybe it did go over the net a little bit, but it was after I made contact. I don't think that's a call that you can call on yourself. I think you can call a not up on a short ball. You can maybe say that ball didn't. That call didn't affect my play on it. But that call has got to be very tough for a player to make. Unless it's glaring, you're standing over the net and playing it. So I don't blame Novak in that instance. I really feel that he was, trying to be fair to himself. I mean, in his mind, he didn't reach over. So he didn't want to give that point because he wasn't completely sure.
No. Andy didn't help himself in the second set with a couple of challenges that he made on Novak's serves, which were both called in. He then finds himself at 3-2, having just broken Djokovic, Barry. And we were saying he's run out of challenges so early in the set, it was going to hurt him, and it hurt him even earlier than we imagined.
And especially, Marcus, with the bad line calling that we've had this week. Andy got it wrong. To run out of challenges by the start of the sixth game. And it was such a big point because he'd broken serve. He played such a brilliant game to get the break.
And of course he got broken in that game.
And of course he got broken. And the first point of any game, even more so when you are a breakup, sets the tone. And Andy made an error there. But to be honest, he didn't make too many errors this afternoon. I thought he played really good tennis. But once Djokovic got that break at 3-all, then he was able to play with a lot more freedom, and the way he ended the match was superb.
Well, yeah, let's not forget that Novak produced some fantastic tennis. It was an engrossing match, but from the word go, there were signs of real quality again from Novak. As you intimated, Leaf, he's coming back to his very best, isn't he?
He is, and he's not giving up much on the backhand, and a win like Indian Wells just reminds him of how great he is, and he just looked content. And again, this court is good for him, as it is for Rafa, and as it is for Andy.
I said at the beginning of the match, how long would it take before they had the first long rally? 4 points.
Yeah.
And this is, Novak at his best. Looking for the break, a brilliant return. And there was no such wobble serving out for the match here, unlike Indian Wells against John Isner and also in the final against Federer. Brilliant tennis at the end from Novak. It was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a set and a break, you're relaxed, you're playing freely. This was a tense match in the opening set, and you feel like, okay, if Andy won that first set, or for that matter, the second, you know, he was definitely in this. And he was, again, the margins are slim against these guys. A couple moments here or there. Andy did, I think, lose his control of his emotions. I mean, obviously, that one ruling really stuck in his craw, and that affected him today.
A really interesting conversation during commentary between Peter and Mark, and Peter was talking about why, when you look at the two guys, and they're so similar in so many ways, but Novak's had a lot more success when it comes to the big titles, etc. What's the difference between them? And perhaps one thing that stood out again tonight is the second serve, because Andy's struggled in that department for a long time now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he hit some doubles at crucial times, and you have to sometimes hit 5-6 great shots to win one particular point. The last thing you want to do is just hand it straight back. And yeah, I mean, it's an area of Andy's game. It's certainly not his strength, but if you look at the stats, he's been able to hide it pretty well by his brilliant ground shots. But I don't feel necessarily that was the match decider today. I think there were crucial stages. I think the break point at 5-all that Andy had, that he missed a shot that you wouldn't expect him to. The first point at 6-5, and when Andy was a break up in the second. And you know, you are literally talking about 1 or 2%. And when two players are playing as well as they did this afternoon, that can decide it.
Once he gets over his bitter frustration of what's happened out there, do you think he'll be able to see more positives than negatives in his performance today, Leif?
I think so, and he will suffer a drop in the ranks, and that's always a little bit toxic, you know, because again, there's a relationship between the number beside your name and you know, your feeling about yourself and your game, and obviously he feels he's a top 4 guy right now, and he'll be 8, I believe. So the good news is there's another tournament down the road, and it's the clay court season, however, so I don't think there'll be the same pressure he feels to perform and defend in Miami like he had this week. So hopefully he can just, you know, play freely and play his best tennis on clay and pull a few surprises off.
And do you think he'll be looking to appoint a new coach now sooner rather than later?
We don't know what Andy's thinking, Marcus, but straight away when he parted the ways with Ivan, I thought he wouldn't make a decision until after Wimbledon. Why would you change it? He's got a very good team as it is at the moment. And we saw the way he's played this week. He's playing really good tennis.
Final word. Novak, if he carries on like this, you think he can become, I think, only the third man to win back-to-back titles in Indian Wells and Miami for a second time?
Yeah, he did it in 2011. You feel as if he's got a great chance to do it. I mean, right now he and Rafa are playing lights-out ball. Someone's going to have to step up and play some big-time tennis to, you know, stop those two from being in the championship match.
OK, listen, Leif, thank you very much indeed. And Barry, thank you for your company.
Pleasure.
As well. It's been a fascinating evening. There's a lot more to come from Miami before we're finished. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got quarterfinals number 3 and 4. The Dog and Thomas Burdick at 7, Sky Sports 3. Rafa and Raonic, 11, Sky Sports 3. And later on tonight, 1 a.m. to be precise, it's Roger Federer against Kei Nishikori, also on Sky Sports 3. But Andy's defence of Miami has come to an end. Bye for now.